While many in New Haven were enjoying their snow day, others were hard at work clearing the city streets of ice and snow. See how New Haven came together to face Blizzard Juno.
Careers in the arts are a mystery for many Yaleys, but today we took a backstage look at life in theater after Yale.
Stay tuned for these stories and more. It's your Yale, your week, and your news. Hello and welcome to YTV. I'm Stefina Yuli. To start, we'll go to Michael Leopold in the newsroom with this week's headlines.
The Yale community is mourning after news that Lucheng Wang, a sophomore in Silliman, is presumed to have taken her life on Tuesday in California. In an email to the Yale community, Yale Dean Holloway encouraged students to turn to each other and to the university for support. In other campus news, Charles Blow, a New York Times columnist, said on his Twitter page Saturday evening that his son, Yale Jr. Taj Blow, had been held at gunpoint by Yale police officers because he fit the description of a suspect. University spokesperson Karen Pear said the suspect was described as a tall African-American college-age student wearing a black jacket and a red and white hat. Blow's first tweet about the event was retweeted over 3,500 times. The Yale police are also investigating a case of alleged sexual assault. A Friday email from Chief Higgins to the Yale community said that the alleged assault occurred in a residential room Wednesday night. On Friday evening, around a dozen police officers entered Vanderbilt Hall, preventing entrance to a suite on the third floor. An anonymous freshman told the news the police were cross-checking witnesses and getting an accurate description of the scene. For the first time since 2005, Yale did not rank in the top 10 for annual fundraising among colleges and universities. According to the annual survey released Wednesday by the Council for Aid in Education, total cash donations to Yale in the 2014 fiscal year dropped by $14 million, from $440 million to $430 million, causing Yale to slide from 9th to 15th place nationally. Harvard University had a fundraising total of $1.16 billion, taking the highest total donations in the history of higher education. That's it for this week's headlines. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Michael. From 1978 to 2013, Yale hadn't given its students or staff a snow day, but in the face of Blizzard Juno, this week the university decided to take a day off. But while most Yaleys stayed at home, some came together to help the community make a speedy recovery from the snow. This week we heard a few of their stories. We go to Nicole Daly, Peter Chung, and Herbert Gilman for more.
While Yale canceled classes on Tuesday in response to Blizzard Juno, and most Yaleys spent their days off in the comfort of their dorm rooms, some students teamed up with a local organization called Snow Crew in order to assist New Haven recover from the storm. Snow Crew originated out of the See-Click-Fix app, which allows citizens to easily connect to their local governments and fix problems in their communities.
So See-Click-Fix is really awesome because they built, I think a couple years ago now, this platform called Snow Crew, which is essentially a platform that connects neighbors with neighbors. So if a neighbor's in need, is snowed in, needs some kind of help, it connects them with volunteers who are then active, ready, and prepared to shovel them out.
Yaleys talked about how engaging the experience was with the city during the effort to return to the normalcy disrupted by Blizzard Juno.
I joined Snow Crew because I love seeing the connection between Yale and New Haven happen. I love being out in the community.
Volunteer Snow Crew members, or Yetis as they are called, were impacted by the inclusive spirit of the initiative.
It was such a cool experience because I never knew how strong the neighborhoods in New Haven are. They were all out helping each other. We saw this one group of people all clearing out a parking lot together so that they could all move their cars.
The people seemed happy to see us. They were, I think, impressed that students were making the time to help people shovel snow in the community.
Beyond Snow Crew, See-Click-Fix ultimately aims to further collaborate with the Elm City to strengthen the municipality on all fronts.
Most powerful things that I saw was the incredible importance of a organized and communicative citizen body. it's sometimes rare to see really citizens helping other citizens. And what I saw was through this platform called Snow Crew and through Fix, the ability for neighbors to really communicate with other neighbors.
To join Snow Crew after the next snowstorm, visit snowcrew.org. From YTV, this has been Nicole Daly, Herbert Gilman, and Peter Chung.
After a slight turn to the east on Monday night, most areas south of Boston were largely spared of the blizzard. New Haven received 7.5 inches of snow, and Yale classes quickly resumed on Wednesday morning.
And in other Yale news, while some students are grabbing suits and ties for their finance interviews, another group of Yaleys is getting ready for a very different type of career, a life on or behind the stage. This week, Yale OCS and the Yale Drama Coalition collaborate to host a Life in the Theater workshop. The event brings together professionals in the theater industry in the hopes of answering theater students' age-old question: after Yale, how will the show go on?
From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. today, students looking to join the theater industry will finally get their big break. Debbie Bisno, a Broadway producer whose past productions include Annie, Warhorse, and The Merchant of Venice starring Al Pacino, is bringing a panel of theater professionals to Yale's own off-Broadway theater.
And the idea for this workshop on the 30th is to give students a more holistic perspective about what life in the theater will be like, but also to allow them to ask questions directly of the people doing the jobs that they're thinking about.
The panel will be moderated by Dan Egan, a lecturer in the Music and Theater Studies departments. Students can then engage with panelists in smaller groups in the form of a breakout session and reception after the event.
One of the things that's difficult with life in the arts, and in theater in particular, is that you're not going to have a whole slate of interviewers come and seek out our students. This is something that we can do to bring this home into New Haven and allow students access to these people.
I'm really in favor of these types of efforts that help to support Yale undergraduates and the skills that they're developing here on campus. And it's always exciting to me to hear about potential opportunities for Yaleys after they leave.
This event arose from a monologue writing workshop held by Yale Office of Career Strategy last spring that soon evolved to become something more.
We discussed so many other things, from resumes and headshots to first jobs out of school to how to network with agents, and that whole process that for a lot of students is very daunting, somewhat shrouded in mystery until you actually get out there and pound the pavement, so to speak.
While past workshops have largely focused on actors, this workshop is the first to reach out to a broad scope of theater students.
The first workshop that I was lucky enough to work with OCS a little bit on was only for actors. And this one we're going to have a really incredible playwright, a director, a producer, an actor as well, and an agent.
Which is pretty exciting. It's a chance for people who aren't interested in necessarily acting to learn how they too can become professional theater makers after graduation.
Students hope to see the continued expansion of opportunities in theater both on and off the stage.
The School of Drama, the Graduate School of Drama, does offer a lot of courses that they allow undergrads to enroll in, but it might be nice to see more undergraduate specific courses.
Of course, there is lots of work that can be done from there. I hope that we'll be able to reach out to people who are, interested in pursuing careers as technicians or as designers, and be able to work with them more.
The hope is that as many students who want to do this will be supported throughout that process for themselves.
The workshop will be held at Off-Broadway Theater from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. For YTV, this has been Nora Etienne.
Space is limited, but might not be too late. If you want to RSVP, go to the OCS website for more information.
Campus conversation has also been centered on the YCC's recent proposal to reform financial aid. To add to that conversation, we decided to give you a quick crash course on the state of Yale's financial aid through time and across the Ivies. We go to Wayne Zhang and Lily Rifkin for more.
Recently, the Yale College Council has taken steps towards turning its recommendations for financial aid reform into reality. Currently, the Yale admission policy does not consider a student's ability to pay and meets the full financial need of all admitted students with no loans required. In fact, Yale is one of the most affordable colleges in the country for families making less than $200,000 in annual income, significantly less expensive than attending a top public university, even as an in-state student. As of now, 50% of all Yale undergraduates receive need-based aid from Yale, making the university the third best school value in the nation. Yale falls just behind Harvard and Princeton, who cover 58% of their students' population's financial needs. In an effort to maintain Yale's excellent reputation in aiding its students, the YCC published a report to further expand and develop Yale's need-based aid. The report proposed increasing the clarity of financial aid award letters and instituting a short-term freeze on the student effort portion of aid. 5 out of 7 students interviewed said that they think that the full elimination of the student effort contribution is a reasonable request to make of Yale. However, Yale has recently been allocating its fundraising money to its new residential colleges, but now it is reshifting its focus back to financial aid in the upcoming years. On Tuesday, the university took a major step towards securing that funding by embarking on a 2-year, $200 million initiative to secure financial aid at the university. The Yale community will appreciate the new donations and policy implementations regarding financial aid once the construction of the 2 new residential colleges is complete. For YTV, this is Wayne Zhang and Lily Rivkin.
In the past school year, just over 50% of undergraduates received some form of financial aid.
And as always, we conclude with our Everybody Has a Story segment. Earlier this month, the Supreme Court agreed to take on a couple of cases that could ultimately lead to a nationwide ruling on same-sex marriage. We decided to revisit an earlier Everybody Has a Story segment from March 2013. In this interview, Cody Pomeran sat down with Akhil Amar, Yale's Sterling Professor of Law and Political Science. He's an expert on constitutional law and has been cited in over 20 Supreme Court cases. Here are some highlights from the interview.
Is there a fundamental right to marriage?
Absolutely. The Supreme Court has recognized marriage as a fundamental right in over a dozen cases. I think I heard the number 14 a couple of times mentioned as the number of citations in Supreme Court case law to the fundamental nature of marriage as a right. And this is a reminder that not all fundamental rights are expressly enumerated, are listed in the Constitution. That's partly what I was trying to talk about in the unwritten Constitution. The 9th Amendment says that we shouldn't deny or disparage, disrespect rights that aren't enumerated. The 14th Amendment, rights of the people. The 14th Amendment says that there are privileges and immunities of citizens that no state should abridge, but it doesn't itemize all of those rights, and so we have to figure out what those privileges and immunities of citizens are, what those rights of the people are, and here's one we can find out what they are. We can look to how the people actually think and live.
To watch the full interview, go to the Yale Daily News website.
And that concludes this week's news segment. We'll leave you with a time-lapse of Old Campus during the snowstorm.
Thanks for watching. It's your Yale, your week, and your news.